The importance of this resolution cannot be overstated. As members of this honorable and highly esteemed institution, it is our responsibility to uphold the dignity, honor, and integrity of the House of Representatives. In doing so, we must also express our collective solidarity with our leaders who stand at the forefront of defending our democratic institutions and the rule of law. His vision for a strong and united Philippines is evident in the administration achievements. It is our duties as legislators to rally behind our President in defending the interests of the Filipino people and safeguarding the future of our democratic institution. These include actions that defy protocols, undermine accountability, and most alarmingly, the threats to the very lives of our leader, His Excellency President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., the First Lady, Mrs. Liza Araneta Marcos, and our beloved Speaker Ferdinand Martin Gomez Romualdez. Speaker Romualdez has displayed exemplary leadership and unwavering resolve in defending this institution against those who seek to weaken it. His swift and decisive response to these serious threats is a testament to his commitment to upholding the principles of democratic governance and the rule of law. Under the leadership of Speaker Romualdez, this chamber has demonstrated unity, dynamism, and effectiveness in performing its mandate. We have passed crucial legislations that support the priorities of the administration and address the needs of our constituents. These successes show that with a stalwart leader like Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, this institution can withstand any obstacle and remain a pillar of democracy.
As we carry out our mandate and stand to uphold the Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, we operate on established rules and procedures to ensure transparency, accountability, and order within our walls and beyond. Over the past few days, we witnessed the blatant disregard for these rules and protocols by no less than the second highest official of the land. I take this opportunity to reiterate that this august chamber must be accorded the honor and dignity befitting its status as the House of the people. To disrespect this chamber is to disrespect the people we represent. No public official, regardless of rank, position, should consider itself above and beyond the 100 million strong Filipino people by obstructing the lawful proceedings and orders of the House. The wanton breach of protocol, the use of vindictive language, and the threat of harm aimed at the leaders of our country show a deep and encompassing disrespect for the rule of law and democratic institutions that we have sworn to protect. I believe we can do better. We must remember that our actions set the tone of public governance in this country. I applaud President Marcos and Speaker Romualdez for their patience, restraint, and ability to rise above the fray by blocking out the external noise and focusing on the work that needs to be done. I urge all of us to follow their example. Let us continue to do our work, no matter the obstacles put in our path, and remember that it is in our collective strength that we have achieved all our legislative goals and more.
I rise today to firmly and unequivocally defend the integrity, honor, and exemplary leadership of our esteemed Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez, against the baseless and malicious accusations hurled by Vice President Sara Duterte. First, let us confront the outrageous claim that the Speaker, a man who has dedicated his life to public service and the betterment of Filipino people, harbored any intent to harm the Vice President. Our Speaker has consistently demonstrated his commitment to democratic governance, transparency, and public service. Under his leadership, this House has passed landmark legislation to uplift the lives of our fellow Filipinos, recover from economic challenges, and ensure national security. These accusations are as hollow as they are reckless. They are not supported by facts, evidence, or any credible source. They are only to sow mistrust and undermine the Speaker's hard-earned credibility. Let us be clear. This House will not allow baseless mudslinging to derail our mission of serving the people.
I rise today to address and firmly refute the baseless and malicious accusations being spread that Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez is attempting to destroy the Vice President because of a supposed ambition to run for President in 2028. These claims are not only unfounded, but are an insult to the Speaker's character and his unwavering commitment to public service. It is also an attack to the integrity of the House of Representatives as an institution. We cannot allow this. We must not. This House stands united behind Speaker Romualdez. We will not be distracted by false narratives, nor will we allow them to undermine the important work we do for the Filipino people. Let us stay focused on the task at hand and continue to serve with integrity, unity, and dedication.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, the partyless coalition clearly see a diversion of attention away from the mounting evidence of fund misuse under the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. Mr. Speaker, the allegation of financial irregularities involving the OBP and the DepEd are serious and demand answers. The Filipino people deserve accountability, transparency, and honesty from their leaders, especially from someone who oversees billions of pesos meant to uplift the lives of our citizens and improve the quality of education of our children.
The Vice President acted with shocking recklessness, issuing threats, deliberately violating security protocols, and using invectives that are unbecoming of her position. While these actions and statements cannot and should not be taken lightly, this House will take the higher ground and choose to rise above such actions and threats, focusing instead on the principles of respect and civility that guide this institution rather than descending into the rhetoric of violence and intimidation. We must not allow individuals, regardless of their positions and influence, to undermine the integrity of this body and our nation.
I rise today with a deep sense of indignation and disbelief over the shocking admission made by Vice President Sara Duterte that she had contacted an assassin to target none other than His Excellency President R. Marcos Jr., First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos, and our esteemed Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez. Let us pause for a moment, Mr. Speaker, to reflect on the gravity of this revelation. The second highest official of the land, someone who took an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution, has admitted to contemplating violence. Violence against the very people she's sworn to serve alongside. This is not just alarming, it is a betrayal of public trust and an affront to our democratic values and a threat to the stability of our nation.
Against the baseless accusations made by the Vice President Sara Duterte. These accusations that our Speaker intended to harm her or that he is involved in illicit activities are nothing but unfounded and irresponsible allegations meant to distract and discredit. First, Mr. Speaker, let us recognize the kind of leadership Speaker Romualdez has exemplified. Under his stewardship, this House has worked tirelessly to pass transformative legislation that directly impacts the lives of millions of Filipinos. From championing economic recovery measures to addressing pressing national security concerns, the Speaker's vision and decisive leadership have steered this chamber toward progress and stability. These are the qualities of a statesman, one who places the nation's welfare above all else. Second, Mr. Speaker, let us consider the gravity of the accusations hurled against him. To accuse someone of plotting harm or engaging in illicit activities without a shred of evidence is not only reckless but dangerous. Such baseless statements undermine the very fabric of our democratic institutions. They erode public trust and divert attention from the real issues our nation faces. These allegations, Mr. Speaker, are nothing more than a desperate attempt to smear the reputation of a man who has consistently demonstrated his commitment to serving the Filipino people. Let us also ask, why is the Speaker being targeted? Is it because of his success in uniting this House under a shared vision for progress? Is it because his leadership has garnered respect and trust not just from his colleagues here, but from the Filipinos at large? Or is it simply because his integrity and competence stand as a stark contrast to those who thrive on baseless accusations and political theatrics? Mr. Speaker, this chamber must stand firm against attempts to tarnish the reputation of its leader. Speaker Romualdez has always conducted himself with honor and dedication. His track record of service speaks louder than any false accusation, and his commitment to the rule of law and public accountability remains unshaken.
In the face of serious and dangerous remarks and defiant acts that threaten the very foundation of democratic governance, rule of law, public trust, and integrity of government institutions. This humble representation expresses full, unwavering support to the leadership of His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and our beloved Speaker Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez. Amidst the arbitrary actions and alarming statements issued by the second highest official of the land, we maintain that the preservation of the dignity, the integrity of the House of Representatives is of paramount importance. Mr. Speaker, in the light of the recent events that have transpired in the last 3 days within the premises of the House of Representatives, these arbitrary acts of interference and alarming statements reflect a clear disregard for institutional authority and due process.
I rise today in utter disbelief and righteous indignation over the Vice President of the Republic, Sara Duterte, admitting that she has contacted an assassin to kill none other than President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., First Lady Luis Araneta Marcos, and our beloved Speaker, Ferdinand Martin G. Romualdez. Mr. Speaker, this is no trivial matter. This is not an offhand remark that can be swept under the rug. This is an admission by the second highest official in the land of a premeditated intent to harm the highest leaders of our government. This is a direct attack on the presidency, on this House, and on the very foundations of our democracy. Let us call this what it is: treachery in the highest order. It is a betrayal not just of the President and this institution, but of every single Filipino who entrusted her with power. How can someone sworn to uphold the Constitution and protect the people conspire to commit such an act of unthinkable violence? How can the Vice President, who is expected to be a unifying figure, admit to plotting an act that could destabilize the entire nation? Mr. Speaker, let us not be deceived by any attempts to downplay or justify this admission. This is not about personal grievances or political rivalry. This is a threat to our national security, our democratic processes, and the rule of law. For the Vice President to even contemplate such actions is a gross abuse of power and betrayal of the office she holds. Mr. Speaker, we must act, and we must act now. How can the Filipino people trust a leader admits to contracting an assassin? How can we continue to allow someone of such dangerous tendencies to occupy one of the highest positions in the land? This is not a question of leadership. It is a question of morality, of accountability, and the survival of our democracy. The House must take immediate action. We cannot simply express our outrage and move on. We must call for a full investigation into the Vice President's admissions, not just for the sake of justice, but to protect the integrity of our institutions and to ensure the safety of our leaders. Mr. Speaker, the behavior cannot just be tolerated. This is not about politics. This is about the survival of our democracy and the safety of our people. We demand answers. We demand accountability. And we demand that the Vice President face the full force of the law for her actions. Let this House stand united in defense of our democracy, our leaders, our people. We cannot and will not allow anyone, even the Vice President, threaten the very foundation of this republic.